Hello, my name is Ben Sadler. I'm the pastors here at Victory, and I'm here with Karen Fischer, a licensed counselor with Christian Family Solutions, and we're here to talk today about joy. So, yay! So tell me what joy is telling us, this feeling of joy.
Feeling of joy. So we've been talking about emotions and why they're there and what they tell us. And joy is easy, right? Joy tells us we like what's happening, right? That we are in a situation that's good, that everything's copacetic, or that whatever is happening is to our liking. So joy is one of those emotions I think we'd probably say we like as opposed to other emotions.
I want more of that.
Yeah, let's get some more.
So there seems to be a lot of talk about, is joy, like I have joy, but I don't have happiness. Is there a difference between joy and happiness, and how do they work together? Or are they different than one another, or what do you think?
Yeah, so joy to me is an emotion. So again, we're talking about just the emotions, and emotions are things that just sort of pop up.
Okay.
They're part of our experience of the world. Happiness is probably, when you look at it from a psychological standpoint, more of a state of being or a way of looking at your life. So I'm going to look at it through a happy lens.
Okay.
Right? So we could think about that, the joy or the experience of good things in my life, or picking those things out. I usually call it farming joy is how you get happiness, right?
Okay.
So if you tend to joy, and if you pay attention to it, and if you make sure that it happens in your life, you can then grow into happy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's a state of being that if you have more joy and you're working more joy, you'll end up in that state.
That's the hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about the research, the psychological research out there on what does joy do to our mental health?
Joy and happiness, yeah. So what's interesting about joy is that we can actually, like I said, cultivate it or become conditioned to experience it more.
Okay.
I'm getting a new puppy, and I'm excited to do a lot of the conditioning training that goes with a new puppy. The truth is, we can do that with joy. I can start picking it out, those joyful moments or those things that are happening, and grow that or condition myself to notice it more, so that I derive happiness or mental satisfaction.
A puppy?
I really am.
What kind of puppy?
It's a German short-haired pointer. It's adorable.
Okay.
Joy.
I got sidetracked, sorry.
Yes.
So you can cultivate that. You can actually, so what tools can you use to actually cultivate? What does that look like?
Yep. So conditioning joy or cultivating joy would mean I want to find ways to like implicitly do this. So I'm on purpose looking for joy. Sometimes I'll say you want to start looking at the world like a 3-year-old.
Okay.
Right? This is how the puppy is going to bring me joy, because the puppy is going to experience a bunch of things and be really happy, right? And then I vicariously am going to take that on, condition myself so that I experience that with them.
Like curiosity, is that kind of the idea?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Curiosity, like a 3-year-old seeing the snow for the first time, or playing outside, or going to a baseball game for the first time, you know, those first time experiences. So can we condition ourselves to look at the world more childlike?
Okay.
Sometimes I think of childlike faith.
Okay.
Right? The joy of childlike faith is so different from the adult version of how we look at faith. So can I condition myself? Can I continue to do that in a very purposeful way? And does that elevate my psychological wellness? And that's what the science of happiness usually talks about.
So so if you're in maybe you're having that sad feeling right now, that emotion of sadness, and that's telling me something about where I'm at, is it as simple as being more curious? If you're in, I mean, if it's a mild sadness and that will flip it around, or?
Sure. Why not? Why not try that as a tactic, at least, to experience it, to look at it, to see it as something that you can tangibly do, right? So can I manufacture it a little bit? So you think about maybe even in grief we do this. Have you ever been to a funeral where everybody's looking at the picture boards?
Yeah.
Right? And in the midst of the grief, they find joy, right? They do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And it gives that lift that says, I don't have to be mired down by this. It's a wellness benefit to find it.
Wow.
Right? So you could certainly do that. I work with people a lot on also the idea of gratitude, which is a little bit beyond joy.
Yep.
It's more the practice of Thanksgiving. And there are lots of great research, either in a secular realm or in a spiritual realm, of how gratitude builds those core strategies that get you through life, right? So
is that just being thankful about anything, or what does that mean to have that gratitude?
Gratitude. So I start every year by numbering a sheet of paper 1 through 365.
Okay.
And I list things. And the challenge is to list things every day, one thing, and to not repeat them.
Yeah.
Which gets tricky.
Yeah.
Right? November, it's kind of tough. But it is the practice of the small things. We think happiness or a state of being, humans really want happiness to be the state of being. It isn't. For many reasons. One of which is we live in a fallen world. Happiness is not equilibrium. It's not going to be the state of being. But tuning yourself towards it as a practice is helpful. So gratitude is great. And it can be, I really encourage people to make it small things. One of the things that happens when we have people who are depressed or whose emotions are really low, mood is really low, everything gets overlooked. Even biologically, their food doesn't have taste. If you've ever seen that or experienced it or heard people talk about it. So even looking for small things starts to stack up. That's that farming joy. I just look for those gratitudes over and over and over.
So happiness is not, we're always going to have the state of happiness, but can you always have joy? I mean, I was just thinking what Paul says, rejoice always. You know? So is that something that, you can shoot for? I think about, he's writing that letter from prison, not necessarily a state of happiness there, but he's saying rejoice always.
Right.
So what do you think
it's
about that?
The practice of joy.
Okay.
Right. I think of my mom. My mom's 89 years old. She had she had polio when she was 20, which interesting thing right now in the post-pandemic world. It's interesting to think about. But she's had no other health problems. And anytime that she goes to the doctor, just routinely, she'll just say, "Thank you, God, for taking care of me. Wow. I thank you for my health." It's not chance. It's not fate. It's not luck. It's thanksgiving to say, "I'm healthy because of you. Thank you." Right.
So it seems it's a lot more intentionality. You're intentionally being grateful and being curious. It's not whatever's happening in my life that's going to determine who I am.
Right. And it's one of the few emotions that would have a positive return by investing in it. Right. A lot of the emotions, when we invest in them, we get a return that we maybe don't want.
Yeah.
Right? If I invest more in sadness, I'll just get more sad.
Yeah.
We get an upside. If you invest more in joy, you get more joy.
Wow. That's really good. That's really good. Anything else on joy? So we talked about curiosity. We talked about thankfulness and gratitude. Any other tools?
Yep, and I think it's just those prayers of thankfulness, and to do that just with intentionality.
That's really great. Thank you.
You're
Wonderful.
welcome.